This is Andrea Faust, and I'm going to present my data overview of Fry Elementary School. The purpose of this data overview is to look at the following data. For school data, we're going to look at years of experience for teachers, degree levels for teachers, gender of teachers, and then student demographics. Then we're going to move into the Georgia Milestone scores in social studies for the 2016-17, 17-18, and 18-19 school years. We're then going to take a look at a subgroup, students with disabilities. We're going to look at the social studies scores for students with disabilities for the Georgia Milestones for the 2016-17, 17-18, and 18-19 school years. Fry Elementary School is located in Acworth, Georgia. It is a Cobb County school with 853 students, and it lies in the suburban area of Cobb County. There are 165 economically disadvantaged students. There is a very high teacher retention rate at Fry, a very active PTSA, and an active foundation that provides funding for school initiatives. We also have very heavy parent involvement in the school. In looking at the years of experience with our teachers, we see that most of our teachers are lying within that 1 to 10 year and 11 to 20 year range. In degree levels, most of our teachers have master's degrees, and then bachelor's degrees is the next highest, and specialist would be the next. Right now, we don't have anybody with a doctoral degree in our school. Staff gender is primarily female, and this is pretty common in elementary schools. You can see we have 5%, 4%, and 4% moving through the 3 years for the male population of teachers. Moving into student data, we're going to look at the race and ethnicity demographics for Fry Elementary School. We're starting here with the 2016-17 school year, and you can see that the community is predominantly white students, followed by 16% Black, 9% Hispanic, and then 3% Asian and 6% multiracial. When we flip to the following year, you can see that that graph does not change much. Again, we're at 63% here for the white population, 17 for the Black population, 10 for Hispanic, 4 for Asian, and 6 again for the multiracial. When we switch to the next one, you can see again, it does not shift that much. We're again at 65% for the white population, staying at 17 for the Black population, 8% Hispanic, 4 Asian, and 6% multiracial. Looking at the demographic percentages here for free and reduced lunch, we're sitting at 17 to 19%. It's pretty consistent over a 3-year period. Students with disabilities from 7 to 6% stays pretty consistent. And limited English proficiency, which would be our ESOL students, at 15 to 14%. Now we're going to go into some Georgia Milestone scores. First, we're going to look at the proficient scores. This is where we want to see most of our students. There are 4 categories to the scoring for the Georgia Milestones. It starts with beginning, then developing, then proficient, and then distinguished. So here we're going to look at 4 different areas, and we're going to look at the county scores versus Fry Elementary, and then I've put district-wide students with disabilities in there so we can see those achievement gaps. So here we see that Fry Elementary has scored higher than the district average in English language arts, math, and science, and there is a very large achievement gap here for the students with disabilities. If you look over here in the social studies, it flips, and Fry has scored lower than the district average, and there's still a large achievement gap here between the scores with students with disabilities. When we move into 2018, we're going to see pretty much the same trend, where Fry has scored higher, but here we see a larger jump in the math area. where we're scoring much higher than the district level. And then you come over here to social studies, and again, we've dipped even lower than the district average in social studies. There's still a large achievement gap here between the students with disabilities and the general education learners. In 2018, we see that Frye is still ahead of the game here with the district average. And here we see something different happen. We've mirrored the district scores for social studies. Again, we're still seeing a large gap for achievement here with the students with disabilities. We're going to take a closer look at the subgroup, focusing on social studies still, and we're going to move into the developing learner stage. So again, looking at students with disabilities, going across the years here, from 2016-17, 17-18, and 18-19 school years, we're going to look at Cobb County, Frye, and then Frye students with disabilities. So if we're looking at the 2018, the most recent, we're seeing that in Cobb County, we had about 42% of students falling within that developing learner stage. At Frye, 49.6%, and students with disabilities, 63.6%. That's a pretty large difference between the general ed population and the students with disabilities. Here we're going to take a different perspective at looking at these groups in social studies with students with disabilities. So here we're showing all of the different stages. So we're going to have the beginning, which is going to be at the bottom, and then developing, proficient, and then distinguished. So when we're looking at this from 2017 to 2019, you can see that we dipped 10% here in our beginning stage, which is great because we have less students in 2018 in that developing stage. We have brought more students in the beginning stage, and then we've brought more students into that developing stage. So we are making progress there. Then we see that we have then put more students back into the beginning stage and fewer students in that developing stage. So we went from a little bit of better scores here from 17 to 18, but then we kind of reversed that again, and we had more students back in that early beginning stage. When you look at the proficient and distinguished scores, you see something interesting. In 2017, we had 10.7% in the proficient, and we dipped all the way down in 2018 to 4.2% in that proficient stage. Then we went back up to 9.1. In the distinguished stage, we were at 7 and went to 8.3 and then to 9.1. That's a consistent increase in the number of students with disabilities hitting that distinguished stage. Now we're going to discuss this data and some of the things that I came to conclusions on when looking at all of these numbers. For strengths, Frye scored higher than the district average in language arts, math, and science in 2019. Frye has heavily focused on reading and writing initiatives that have raised EOC scores over the 3 years. The number of students with disabilities scoring in the proficient and distinguished stage has increased over the last year by 5.7%, which is great. In weaknesses, Frye has had the same overall scores as the district average in social studies in 2019 and was significantly below the district average for the 2 years prior. Students with disabilities increased the numbers of students in the developing stage by 7.2% in 1 year, which is a lot of students. Frye has higher percentage of learners in the developing stage than the district does. And Frye's students with disabilities increased the number of students in the developing stage by 20.7% in a 2-year period, which is a very large number. The next steps. So the next steps that I was putting together for recommendations includes the students with disabilities as well. And I felt that all of these things would impact the students with disabilities that are taking these EOCs, which are predominantly in the general education classroom in co-taught and collaborative settings in the classroom. We have very few students in a small group setting within our school, and we do not serve social studies in a small group setting in our school. So all of our students with disabilities are in a co-taught or general education classroom during that time. The first was to create an action plan to implement an academic initiative to use social studies standards cross-curricular in the school across grade levels. So bringing those social studies standards into the reading, into the writing. Bring in professional learning opportunities for teachers on innovative ways to teach social studies to engage their learners. Offer technology-rich resources for social studies teachers. Bring arts integration into the social studies curriculum. Our school is in the process of getting our arts integration certification right now. Create a data team to track the data on student achievement in social studies and discuss the 2019-2020 EOC scores as compared to the last 3 years to look for any growth or increases that might have occurred through these next steps. Thank you for taking your time to listen to my presentation, and I hope you have a wonderful day.